Ever feel like your mind is being pulled in 100 directions at once, yet deep down, you crave that sharp, laser-like focus that only the top 1% seem to have? What if I told you the ability to stay unshaken amidst the chaos isn't a gift? It's a skill, one that's been passed down through centuries. And what if the secret to mastering that skill lies in ancient Stoic wisdom, waiting quietly for you to pick it up? Now picture this. You're in the middle of a storm, notifications buzzing, social media screaming for your attention, thoughts racing like wild horses. But right there at the center of it all, you stand calm, still, unshaken, your mind sharp like a blade, slicing. Clean through the noise, you remain focused, unmoved by the chaos around you. Now think for a second, who are the most successful people you know? What do they all have in common? They've learned how to master their minds, and that's exactly what we're unlocking today, how to build an unbreakable mind through the art of mental focus. If you've ever found yourself drifting off in the middle of a task or getting frustrated because your attention just won't stick, know this: you're not alone. But here's the surprising truth. Developing a powerful, disciplined mind doesn't require superhuman strength. It doesn't demand some mystical ability. In fact, the method is ancient. It's simple, and it works. This secret has been practiced for thousands of years, and its roots lie deep in Stoicism. So stay with me, because today we're going to explore how you can take full control of your mind, sharpen it like a sword, and transform the way you think, act, and live. Quick challenge before we dive deeper. Take a moment and comment below. My mind is my weapon. Let it be your mantra, a reminder that you're in control of your thoughts and your focus. All right, let's jump into it. Part 1, the power of mental focus. Let's begin with a simple but profound question. What does it really mean to focus in a world full of noise? Every day, we're hit with an avalanche of distractions. Scrolling, feeds, endless emails, pop-up messages, even our own wandering thoughts. No wonder so many of us feel scattered and unfocused, like we're running in place but going nowhere. But here's the twist. When you truly learn to focus, to cut through that noise with precision, you unlock a kind of power most people never experience. Mental focus is the bedrock of success. It's what separates those who make real progress from those who just stay busy. Whether you're chasing a dream, building a relationship, or trying to make better choices, everything begins with your ability to direct your attention. And this is where Stoicism becomes your greatest ally. The Stoics believed the mind was the most powerful tool we have. Not our muscles, not our talent, our mind. And if we can learn to wield it, to command it with clarity and purpose, there is no limit to what we can accomplish. The mind, as they saw it, can either be your fiercest ally or your most dangerous enemy. And that depends entirely on how you choose to use it. This level of focus isn't just about grit or raw willpower. It's about training yourself to guide your attention toward what actually matters. So how do we do that? How do we strengthen our mental muscles to focus with clarity and control? Let's continue to explore that step by step. In the next section, previously, we explored how mental focus is the foundation of everything, from making smart decisions to building the life you want. Now let's dig deeper into why most people struggle to maintain that focus and how to break free from the trap. Part 2. Why most minds are weak and distracted. Here's a hard truth. Most people today have weak, easily distracted minds. And that's not meant as a judgment. It's a reflection of the world we live in. Every day, our minds are bombarded by noise, messages, alerts, updates. Our thoughts are constantly pulled in dozens of directions like leaves tossed around by the wind. And when that happens, something dangerous sets in. Our focus starts to fracture. Our thinking gets foggy. We stop being in control and instead we react to whatever comes our way. But why is this so common? Why do so many people find it nearly impossible to concentrate for more than a few minutes? The answer lies in our habits. Distractions have become part of our daily rhythm. We've trained our brains without realizing it to respond to every ding, every buzz, every digital whisper demanding our attention. Over time, that constant stimulation becomes addictive. The brain starts craving it. This isn't a new problem. The Stoics, centuries ago, saw it clearly. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Think about that. If your thoughts are scattered and chaotic, what kind of life do you expect? To build from them, your external world reflects your internal one. If your mind is calm, your life follows. But if your mind is stormy, full of distraction and scattered energy, that storm will show up everywhere, in your work, your relationships, your emotions. But here's the empowering part. Once you see the trap, you can choose to escape it. Once you recognize how distractions weaken your mind, you can start to reclaim your focus bit by bit. That's the first real step toward mental clarity. So ask yourself, am I reacting to life or am I responding with intention? Drop a comment below if this resonates. I choose to control my focus. It's a small declaration with massive impact. Now, let's move on to one of the core Stoic teachings that holds the key to mastering focus. Part 3. Control what you can, ignore what you can't. This is one of the timeless truths at the heart of Stoicism. Focus on what's within your control. Let go of what isn't. It sounds simple, but when practiced deeply, this principle is life-changing, especially when it comes to sharpening your focus. Why? Because most people burn their mental energy on things they can't change: someone's opinion, a surprise setback, the behavior of others, traffic, weather, the news. Every second spent worrying about those things is a second stolen from what really matters: your own thoughts, actions, and reactions. The Stoics knew this well. They believed that power lies in what you do with your mind, not in trying to bend the world to your will. The truth is, there's only one thing you truly have control over: yourself, your mindset, your perspective, your choices. So when you focus on your own responses, when you discipline your attention, you become free from the emotional roller coaster that external chaos tries to pull you into. You're no longer a puppet to circumstance. You become the author of your response. Now, this brings us to an important shift in how we handle mental energy. In the next section, we'll explore how to stop feeding distractions and start feeding your inner clarity. Earlier, we uncovered a timeless truth. From the Stoics, you only have control over your own mind. And when you stop letting the outside world dictate your internal state, something powerful happens. Your focus sharpens. Part 4. Cut the noise. Control the focus. So how do we actually apply this mindset when it comes to focus? The answer is simple, but far from easy. You have to cut out distractions ruthlessly. That means focusing entirely on the task in front of you and not letting anything pull you away from it. It's a mental discipline, a choice you make again and again. You train yourself to ask, is this worth my attention right now? Or is it just noise? And once you develop the ability to filter out the unimportant, you unlock a deep sense of control over your thoughts, your energy, and ultimately, your results. If this resonates with you, let's lock it in with a declaration. Drop a comment. I focus on what I can control. Let's commit to living that Stoic mindset, not just understanding it. Part 5, Understanding the Psychology of Distractions to Master Focus. We also have to understand why distractions are so powerful in the first place. Our brains are not built for the modern world. They're wired for instant gratification. Every time your phone lights up or buzzes, your brain rewards you with a hit of dopamine. That tiny spike in pleasure reinforces the habit, teaching your brain to crave more and more interruptions, and that's how the cycle begins. This leads to what psychologists call attention fragmentation. It sounds technical, but the reality is simple. Every time you shift your attention, even for a second, you don't just lose time, you lose mental energy, you burn cognitive fuel, and over time, your ability to concentrate becomes weaker. That's why developing focus is more than just staying off your phone. It's about rewiring your brain, training it to resist the short-term hit and stay with what matters. Here's where the Stoics show up again with timeless wisdom. They believed in detachment, not from people or the world, but from the things that pull us off course, from the impulses, the temptations, the distractions that scatter our attention and weaken our resolve. Imagine your mind like a muscle. The more you train it to return to the present, to the task in front of you, the stronger it becomes. But if you let it wander endlessly, that muscle withers. Each distraction might feel small, harmless, but over time, they chip away at your clarity. So what can you do? The first step is awareness. Simply noticing when your attention slips is already a victory, because once you're aware, you have the power to redirect it. And when you guide your attention back again and again with Stoic intention, that's how you begin building a mind that doesn't just survive chaos, but thrives in it. If you're ready to take back that control, declare it now. I control where my attention goes. This is your turning point. The moment you begin training your focus like a warrior sharpens a blade. And speaking of training, let's now explore how the Stoics themselves practiced mental discipline and how you can use those same timeless techniques to develop razor-sharp focus. Previously, we explored how recognizing distractions is the first step to taking back control of your mind. Now, let's see how the Stoics turned that awareness into daily action with practices that trained the mind like a disciplined warrior preparing for battle. Part 6. Daily Stoic Practices to Sharpen. Focused Stoicism isn't just philosophy, it's a practical toolkit. And some of its most powerful tools are simple, yet incredibly effective in strengthening mental focus. One of the core Stoic techniques, morning reflection. Before your day even begins, before the emails, the texts, the whirlwind of responsibilities, take a quiet moment for yourself. Reflect on the day ahead. What challenges might arise? Who might test your patience? What unexpected curveballs could show up? But here's the key. Don't just think about the obstacles. Visualize your response. See yourself remaining calm, composed, and clear-minded no matter what the day throws at you. This simple ritual doesn't take long, but it sets the tone for your entire day. It primes your mind to stay focused, no matter the noise around you. Another powerful Stoic tool? Negative visualization. Now, don't confuse this with pessimism. It's not about expecting bad things to happen. It's about mentally preparing for them, so they don't shake you when they do. Picture the worst-case scenarios. A project falls apart. A friend lets you down. Something doesn't go your way. Then ask yourself, how would I handle this with strength and clarity? By rehearsing adversity in your mind, you build psychological armor. You become less reactive and far more focused when real challenges show up. And finally, the Stoics practiced something we often forget in the modern world: mindful detachment. They trained themselves to let go of distractions, to resist emotional overreactions, to stay grounded in the present task. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the Roman Empire, constantly reminded himself to stay focused, to not be swayed by emotion or chaos, to focus only on what he could control, and let go of the rest. So, how do we start building this mindset in our own lives? Start simple. Begin each morning with quiet reflection. Set clear intentions. And throughout your day, pause briefly. Recenter your mind. Remind yourself what matters. These tiny moments of mindfulness, practiced consistently, will reshape your ability to concentrate. If you're serious about building laser-like focus, say it aloud or type it below. I am focused and nothing will distract me. Let's make this a commitment, not just a concept. Now, as we strengthen our mental focus, there's one more critical element we need to address: willpower. It's the invisible force behind staying locked in, especially when everything around you tries to pull you off track. Let's dive into that next. In the last section, we explored how the Stoics developed practical routines to cultivate mental focus. But behind that structure lies another key ingredient: willpower, and learning how to manage it can make all the difference. Part 7. The role of willpower in mental focus. Willpower is often misunderstood. People think of it as brute force, gritting your teeth, pushing through, never bending. But that's not the Stoic way. The Stoics didn't believe in white-knuckling their way through life. Their idea of discipline wasn't about constantly forcing themselves to be rigid or harsh. Instead, it was about balance, knowing when to push and when to pause. Their version of self-control wasn't rooted in restriction, it was rooted in wisdom. They understood something many people still overlook: your willpower is limited. Like any resource, it can run dry if misused. Take a simple example. If you start your day with no structure, no plan, no clear direction, you'll burn through your willpower, making dozens of trivial decisions. Should I check my messages? Eat now or later? Start with this task or that one. These seemingly small choices silently drain your mental energy. And by the time you reach the important work, the deep, focused thinking, your willpower is already spent. That's why systems, routines, and structure matter so much. They act like a roadmap, freeing your brain from constant decision-making. When your day is organized, your energy can be reserved for what really matters. This is how the Stoics conserved their strength. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most respected Stoic leaders, constantly reminded himself to remain disciplined, but also to be strategic. He didn't exhaust his energy on things that didn't serve his higher purpose. His actions were guided by clarity, not impulse. That's a powerful lesson for all of us. If you want to build stronger willpower and protect your focus, you must align your daily actions with a deeper sense of purpose, not with momentary emotions or distractions. Remember, this willpower is like a muscle. To grow stronger, it needs two things: deliberate use and intentional rest. That's where intentional routines come into play. Each time you structure your day with thoughtfulness, you're not just being organized. You're actively training your willpower. You're saving that mental energy for the moments that truly demand your full attention. Think of willpower like a bank account. You wouldn't spend every dollar on random things and expect to have enough left for something important. Your mental energy works the same way. So if you're ready to start managing your willpower with purpose and transform it into a daily habit, drop a comment. I have the will to stay focused, because with every small commitment, you're not just planning your day, you're strengthening your mind. Now that we've laid the groundwork for discipline and focus, let's take it a step further. How can you sustain this clarity over the long haul? Let's break that down next. Previously, we explored how willpower, like a muscle, must be used wisely and recharged regularly to maintain strong, lasting focus. Now let's venture into a deeper, more powerful layer of focus, one that involves mastering your emotions. Part 8, Dark Psychology, using focus to control your emotions. Now, we're stepping into a fascinating and sometimes uncomfortable realm, dark psychology. Don't worry, we're not diving into manipulation or deceit. Instead, we're looking inward, exploring the raw, untamed energy of our emotions and how focus can become the key to mastering them. Here's the undeniable truth. Emotions are some of the most powerful forces in our lives. They can push us to greatness or pull us into chaos. Think about it. Anger, fear, anxiety, even joy. These intense feelings don't just shape how we feel, they influence how we think, how we act, how we speak, and how we make decisions. Emotions are like winds. They can propel the ship forward or throw it wildly off course, and that's where the danger lies. If you let your emotions run unchecked, if they drive your every decision, you lose your center. Your focus shatters. One moment you're working, the next you're spiraling into frustration or anxiety. You're no longer in control. You're reacting, not choosing. But what if you could flip the script? What if emotions didn't control you, but fueled you? That's the powerful shift we're talking about here, transforming emotion into focus. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't believe in denying emotions, but in observing them, understanding them, and then using them as fuel. Emotions, they taught, aren't enemies. They're tools, waiting to be harnessed. Let's break it down. Take anger. Most people lash out when they're angry. Judgment becomes clouded, and regret soon follows. But if you recognize that anger and, instead, channel its raw energy into your goals, you can become more driven, more precise, and more productive. Or consider fear. It often makes us hesitate or avoid action. But when you bring your focus to the present, right here, right now, you begin to detach from imagined futures. That fear loses its grip. You make decisions based on logic, not panic. Even sadness, which can feel like it drains every drop of motivation, carries power. If you focus your attention inward, using that sadness as a space for reflection, you can find new clarity, deeper strength, and a surprising sense of purpose. This is where dark psychology becomes incredibly useful, not for manipulating others, but for decoding yourself. It's about studying the deeper psychological patterns that drive your emotional behavior. Because when you learn to manage your emotions, you also gain control over your focus, your actions, and your results. And it all begins with emotional awareness, knowing when you're being pulled off course and choosing consciously to return to center. So ask yourself this: are your emotions leading you, or are you leading them? Up next, let's break down exactly how you can strengthen this emotional discipline day by day and turn self-awareness into consistent focus. In the last section, we explored the powerful idea of using emotions as fuel rather than letting them hijack your focus. Now let's take that concept further, learning how to observe and detach from emotions in real time, just like the Stoics did. Part 9. Detach to regain control. The Stoic method of emotional mastery, one of the most underrated. Mental skills is learning how to observe emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. The Stoics called this detachment, but don't confuse it with emotional suppression. Detachment isn't about ignoring your feelings, it's about understanding them and ultimately mastering them. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most respected Stoic philosophers, frequently reminded himself of a simple truth. You can't control other people's actions, but you can always control your reaction. This principle is at the heart of emotional discipline. When you feel anger, anxiety, or stress rising up inside you, your first instinct might be to react immediately. But that's exactly the moment to pause. Take a breath. Feel the emotion, acknowledge it, but don't let it take over. You are not your emotions. And the moment you become aware of them without acting on impulse, you gain power. You create space between feeling and action, and that space is where your freedom lives. That pause, that's where your focus sharpens. Let's say you're in a tense situation and anger starts to surface. Instead of exploding or letting that anger distort your judgment, practice this simple internal dialogue. I see that I'm feeling angry, but I am not defined by this feeling. What's the most focused, goal-aligned action I can take right now? That moment of recognition, of conscious choice, reclaims your mental clarity. And the more you practice this, the stronger your emotional awareness becomes. You start to recognize patterns, triggers, reactions, habits, and with each pattern you break, your focus deepens. This doesn't happen overnight. But with consistent effort, you begin to carry your clarity with you, even in chaos. Think of it like training a muscle. The more you recognize emotions without being ruled by them, the stronger your ability becomes to stay focused, no matter what's happening around you. If you're ready to stop letting emotions steer the wheel and start using them as tools to sharpen your mind, drop a comment. I control my emotions. They don't control me. Let's commit to mastering our inner world. Because emotional mastery isn't just a philosophy, it's a shortcut to unlocking your deepest potential. And now that we've laid the emotional foundation, It's time to get practical. What exercises can you start doing today to build unbreakable focus? Let's explore them in the next section. In the last section, we uncovered how mastering emotions can sharpen your focus. But knowing isn't enough. Doing is what transforms awareness into habit. So now, let's shift from theory to action with powerful practical exercises you can start using today. Part 10. Practical exercises to build unbreakable focus. The first technique is simple, but don't let that fool you. It's called the Pomodoro technique, and it's one of the most effective tools for improving mental stamina. Here's how it works. You break your work into short, focused intervals, typically 25 minutes of deep concentration, followed by a 5-minute break. That's one cycle. After 4 of these cycles, take a longer break, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. The key here is uninterrupted effort during those 25 minutes. No social media, no emails, no multitasking, just full undivided attention on a single task. Once your break is over, you return to your work refreshed, sharper, and more focused. Over time, this method trains your brain to concentrate for longer periods, naturally boosting your attention span and resilience to distractions. At first, it might feel mechanical, but stick with it. Even practicing just a few cycles a day can have a major impact. Then, gradually scale up as your mental endurance grows. Another powerful tool, mindful breathing. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or mentally scattered, your focus suffers. That's when mindful breathing becomes your secret weapon. All you need is 5 to 10 minutes. Here's a simple pattern to follow. Inhale slowly for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 4 seconds. Then exhale gently for 6 seconds. While doing this, clear your mind. Don't think about tasks, stress, or anything else. Just focus on the rhythm of your breath. This calming exercise does more than just relax you. It quiets mental noise, reduces stress hormones, and helps bring your attention back to the present. And the best part? You can do it anywhere. Whether you're stuck in traffic, in a tense meeting, or wrestling with a tough decision, mindful breathing brings you back to center. Next up is visualization, a technique used by elite athletes, performers, and yes, even Stoics. Before you begin a task, pause and close your eyes. Picture yourself doing the work with complete focus. See every step clearly. Visualize yourself handling distractions with ease, completing the task smoothly, and feeling accomplished at the end. This mental rehearsal primes your brain to follow through in real life. The more detailed and vivid your visualization, the more your subconscious aligns with that intention. Finally, let's talk about one of the Stoics' most cherished practices, daily journaling. At the end of each day, take a few moments to write. Reflect on what went well. Note where your focus drifted. Ask yourself, what pulled me off track? How can I respond better tomorrow? This isn't about perfection. It's about awareness and adjustment. By tracking your patterns, you train your mind to become more intentional, more resilient, and ultimately more focused. Each of these exercises, Pomodoro sessions, mindful breathing, visualization, and daily reflection, acts as a small workout for your mind. With consistency, they add up to a major transformation. Now that you've got the tools, let's talk about the biggest challenge people face when building focus and how to conquer it before it sabotages your progress. In the last section, we explored practical tools like journaling, visualization, and mindful breathing that can help you strengthen your mental focus day by day. Now let's talk about what truly makes those tools work. Consistency. Part 11, Building an Unbreakable Mind, one practice at a time. Here's something powerful to keep in mind. Even the simplest exercises can lead to profound transformation if you stick with them. The secret isn't in doing them perfectly. The secret is doing them consistently. With every small repetition, your focus becomes sharper, your mind becomes steadier. Day by day, moment by moment, you start building a kind of mental resilience that few people ever reach. So if you're ready to really commit to training your focus, declare it right now. I am training my mind to stay focused. Say it, type it, believe it, because this journey we've walked through together, this path toward an unbreakable mind, it begins with a single step: daily practice. We've covered a lot in this video. You've learned how focus is a skill, not a trait, how emotional control, intentional structure, and Stoic principles all work together to shape a disciplined, powerful mind. And now, it's time for action. Mental focus isn't something that appears out of nowhere. It's something you earn through repetition and choice. The Stoics didn't just speak about clarity, they embodied it. And you can too. Start with the tools we've discussed. Build them into your routine. Make them non-negotiable. As the days pass, you'll begin to notice subtle shifts. How you respond instead of react. How your mind no longer scatters at every distraction. How you regain control faster than before. But here's the truth that separates the average from the exceptional. Focus alone isn't enough. You need the discipline to keep showing up, especially when it's inconvenient, when motivation fades, or when life throws chaos your way. Your mind can become your most powerful ally, but only if you train it that way. So don't stop here. Turn these principles into habits. Let them shape how you live, work, think, and grow. And now, before you go, I want you to do something simple but powerful. If you found real value in what you've learned today, if you're ready to unlock the next level of your mind, make this declaration in the comments. I control my focus, and my focus shapes my destiny. Repeat that to yourself daily. Write it down. Let it become your compass, because at the end of the day, focus is not just about productivity, it's about power. It's about presence. It's about choosing the kind of life you want and directing your mind to build it. So stay focused, stay disciplined, and let your mind become truly unbreakable. Until next time, keep practicing Stoicism and keep shaping your mind into your greatest strength.